I see dead people.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
Sound test? Sound test. Can you hear these purrs?
Come on, get nice. Oh yeah.
I think that might have been it. That might have been me moving my sleeve. We'll have to look at the evidence.
Penny, rev it up.
We'll have to look at the evidence to see. I don't know. I think I'm seeing a little bit of something there. Let's see if we could listen. I was literally about to say that this might be Penny's first episode.
Hello. That's not Penny. That's Deputy.
Penny, I'm here with Deputy Dewey. But I was starting to think, we have a cat. We have a new cat. I have a new cat.
Nah, this is my cat.
And if you're hearing her, that's her purring on Deputy Dewey's lap.
Yeah.
Which, who wouldn't, first off?
My ex-girlfriend, that's
my ex-girlfriend. But I was starting to say that this might be the first episode I record with Penny, but that's not technically true, because you guys would call me out. One of you already said, I think it was Isaiah, said surprise cat appearance.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or surprise cat cameo, because she walks in on the background of my Dear David episode with Glitch and just goes, meow! Just like one loud in the background. And I'm like, oh shit.
That's good commentary. Keep it up.
It's good commentary.
Some might say that's even better than some Mark Rooster commentary.
Or was it? No, it wasn't the Glitch. I definitely wouldn't say that. I never get caught saying that. No, it wasn't the Dear David episode. It was my Halloween Horror Nights overview.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The first episode I did when I got back from, like, finishing the finale and all that shit for last season. So it was my New Year's episode.
Okay. Come on, Sinners 2026.
Yeah. I'm hoping for it, because now the rumors are changing already that Stranger Things isn't coming anymore.
Okay.
So
it's backlash over a mediocre ending?
I honestly just don't think either they pulled out or they were never on the schedule. It's hard to say what the rumor mill is saying, because I'd like to think I'm hearing that they backed out. And part of me thinks it is due to the backlash of the last season, or the fact that they just don't feel the need to do it anymore because they have their own, like, pop-up establishments around the country now. So it's
houses.
like, yeah, so the one in Texas has Stranger Things as a walkthrough experience.
Just the Henry Cavill house.
It is, basically. So it's like, it's the season 4.5 house.
Gotcha.
So it's like, why would they want someone to go do season 5 somewhere when it kind of has the same feel? And because season 5 already kind of has the same feel as season 4. So it's just like, it's like a greatest hits house. That's the only reason why I'd want it to come. Because if you break the house down to the specific scenes that they would adapt, it's a little bit of season 1, a little bit of season 2, almost no season 3, and a bunch of season 4. Like, just rehashed.
Cool.
Vecna's still showing up, Mind Flayer's kind of there, there's Demodogs, there's Demogorgons, but that's what the house would be. It would be like those 5 scenes. I don't think it's happening anymore, but now there are rumors that Scream might be happening. I never believed those rumors. It hasn't happened in the last 10 years. It's not going to happen now. Unless they really care about getting some positive word of mouth for this movie coming out.
I don't know if that would be that fun of a house, too. Like, I love
Depending
Scream.
on which Scream.
I'm one of the biggest Scream fans.
I know,
on
even
this
I'm like, yeah. Well, the Halloween house rocks, and you'd think Halloween is a pretty dry movie. But the Halloween house rocks.
Okay.
They find a way to put you in every scene. They
cool.
literally even found a way to put you in the fucking closet of the hangar scene. So it's like, it became a hallway where the scare actor was on one side and Michael was busting open through the doors on the other, and you had to walk between them as it was happening. It was a wild house.
Do I get to be Corey Cunningham and bang Laurie Strode's granddaughter?
I hope so.
That'd be really cool. That's very immersive.
That's an immersive experience that you could pay top dollar for.
I would rather be, him in Silent Night, Deadly Night and have
Hell yeah.
Kill them Nazis.
Hell yeah. If there's one person I know who loved that movie, it's Mark Rooster. He would love to hear us talk about it again.
Penny just looked at me and was like, he's lying.
That's sarcasm. I wanted to come into this episode unhinged as hell and just immediately start screaming about stuff.
Let's do it.
That's the energy I'm bringing to today's episode. Mostly, one, it's the first time in a while since last summer, since I was doing the finale with you guys, that I've been able to like sit down on the couch with someone and read something. Because we did do a recording at Mark Rooster's place, but it's different than being at home in the studio, you know, mic on table, ready to go, just belting shit out. It's two-part me emotionally reacting. This is going to be an in memoriam dedication to my dog that my brother Spum had to put down his oldest girl last week, and it was really, really sad but understanding. It was the most, like, it was as balanced as the experience could be, because she was fucking old and it was going to happen at some point, and she wasn't in a good spot, and it was the kind thing to do, which is, it's always the sad way to putting down an animal. But she had been on the show. She had been present for so many fucking recordings. You could hear her collar jangling and her toes tapping on the floor in various episodes. Like, you just can. If you go back and listen to certain episodes, her presence is there, and it's because she was always hanging out. There's like 2 seasons where she's just there on everything we're doing, because that's when I was living with my brother, that's when I was in the basement, that's when we were back in the studio, and if I was alone with someone, there was just enough room on that love couch for her to fit right between you two, and that was her favorite place, was being between people who would give her love and affection. And I am dearly going to miss that animal, because she was just so fucking sweet. I don't think I've ever known an animal to be that sweet before. And it's just like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to those episodes, and I'm gonna hear us talking to her, or I'm gonna hear her snoring in the background, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, she had a really good fucking life. She had a really good life.
I don't think there was ever a time where I was hang out with her and they did not have a bunch of joy. Like, she just was always...
She just added
fun
to every presence.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, we were already there having fun, whether it was D&D, board game night, just hanging out watching movies, all the Hellraisers, all the VHSs. Anything that happened in that basement over the course of our friendship, if was home or if he left her with me, she was down there with us because she wanted to be around people.
I think that was my saddest part of you moving out of your brother's place, too.
Is that you didn't get to see her
Daisy
anymore. Yeah. No, it's a fucking bummer. And then, not to make it more sad, but the minute I move in here and the minute I start recording again, the cat I was most excited about living here passes away too, and we have to put her down. So it's like, even she didn't get her time on the show. Like, I move in and another animal, like this animal dies. 3 months later, another animal dies. It's just, it has been a past 6 months from hell, and I just have a cat sitting on my lap just fucking staring at me.
Lots of
with
pasta.
her cyclops eye.
Lotsa needs its emotional support animals.
Yeah, no, I was literally... So now I feel bad because there's a cat on my lap, but I was literally going to come onto this episode and be like, support me! Support me! Support me! I want to Pasta Patreon! Support me! I'm emotionally unavailable at the moment.
Don't worry, I'll leave him a nickel before going away.
It's really great. Every time we do an episode together, you give me like, you're like a grandparent slipping a $20 into my pocket. I really appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes it's just a
pre-chewed
sweet candy. But no, now that I have this cat on me, I'm coming in with much more relaxed energy because she's just loafing on my lap right now. So Lucy was the cat we had to put down. Daisy was the dog we had to put down. But on the show, we codenamed her because, of course, we're high out of our minds, and I'm with my brothers, and I'm like, let's talk about giving her a code name, as if we need to hide her identity. Her code name on the show was Bandana Jane.
Oh, hell yeah. Because she always rocked that.
Because she rocked a bandana.
She's a badass.
So now, welcoming to the show with her meows on my Halloween Horror Nights episode, which was cool to listen to on YouTube because I had footage from that year that I put up So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and watch it on YouTube. It's so much more fun to see my breakdown of these houses as we go through them. But also featured, I believe, on my Dear David episode that just came out the week prior to this one, or 2 weeks prior to this one, the episode prior to this one, with Glitch Blob, where we read the Twitter chroniclings of Dear David, written by Adam Ellis, which also watch on YouTube because there are visuals. You see us going through the pictures, going through the videos where this guy's trying to talk about how he's haunted. So you get to see our investigation alongside this dude kind of proclaiming it to the internet, and it gets more and more crazy the deeper we go into it. So it's a fun visual thing. I'm actually sad now because it makes me wish I had waited to do Ted the Caver. Because doing Ted the Caver with visuals is so much more terrifying than doing just the story.
It's like the OG Creepypasta, right?
Ted the Caver is one of the oldest and most notable because it was never a creepypasta. Okay. It was a dude's actual website that he put on the internet. But it was meant to be. It was fiction.
Yeah.
It was fiction for the medium. He wanted to present what it would be like to read an online, as it's happening, real turn of events that goes south in an unexpected and scary way. And we read stories to read alone at night. I always talk about his stuff because he's crossed over from all these different episodes, and we interviewed him on 250, I believe. It's just like, he's another person who would make old-looking fake websites just to sell a narrative.
Ooh, fun.
And it's like, you buy into it because it's a part of the medium. Mm-hmm. It's like, if it's art, then that's a part of how it was delivered. And that informs the message that you get from that art, if that makes sense. So it's like, you get so much more invested and immersed in the story when it's presented in that medium. And something about reading Ted the Caver and having the anxiety of clicking to the next page and not knowing what you're going to see, like what the first thing he's going to hit you with. Or when he describes hearing something underground and you're forced to analyze these pictures to see if you could see what he's hearing for him, you know. It brings a real ARG aspect to it. So a little bit of augmented reality where you're brought into this different universe and you're forced to experience what they're experiencing. It's really cool, and something about Dear David hits that scratches that same itches that same scratch. So I think those two episodes, the Horror Nights episode and the Dear David episode, are exceptional. So if anyone is interested, go and check them out on YouTube specifically. I know a lot of you still listen just on Spotify. I saw that I could put visuals on Spotify now. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I'm not. If you guys want me to put visuals on there, if you don't have access to YouTube or whatever, I mean, all my stuff goes up on YouTube for free. You should just go there. I kind of don't want to have to share visuals everywhere. So just support me. Deal with it.
Do SoundClouders even exist?
I still put it up there, yeah.
Okay.
It's the one platform I still pay for.
Okay, so it's not...
I don't think I have to. I think, honestly, if I wanted to shut it down and save some money, I probably could. But it's only $10 a month, and I really don't care.
Gotcha.
I'd rather pay for it somewhere and have that be an outlet that's known for, podcasts and stuff than have it just solely exist on YouTube and Spotify.
It's another medium where people pick
It's another medium where people pick stuff up, and I've always gotten good feedback there. I've met a lot of good people there. There were a lot of you guys. This is a fan episode, by the way. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into the fan stuff. I'm just high, so I'm gonna ramble about other stuff first.
But why do all the SoundCloud rappers die? Why is it always...
Why didn't you write a creepypasta about that?
You know what? Fine. That's my next
challenge.
That's my next summer challenge.
You now have the rapper SoundCloud account that's gonna haunt us all. No, so it's like SoundCloud had been the birthplace of getting an RSS feed for this show.
Okay.
I feel like I owe them that much, but we also got introduced to a lot of our fans from there. This is a shout out to Star. This is a shard out.
We're sharding.
This is a shart, specifically a shart to Billy Wilkinson, aka Billy fucking Wilkinson. This is also a shout out to Danny Boy. This is a shout out to Isaiah. SoundCloud, the reason I keep up with SoundCloud is because of you guys. And there are so many different other people that found us there too. And, this episode is for you guys. This is one of 2 current Patreon episodes I have gestating. And the other one I might go in a little bit of a different direction with, but for today, I gave Deputy Dewey some options, and we landed on a very clear winner.
Of course, your boy loves a good drunk tank.
Yeah,
because
drunk
I'm
tank.
the one that puts him in there, because I'm
yeah, because you're the cop.
Yeah.
So
until I get stabbed by a little girl named Mikey Madison, and I become sad.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, yeah, sad and dead. But it's like we had some options today, and we could have gone weird or perhaps more classical creepypasta. And ironically, we're going even more classical creepypasta than the other options, because half of the other options were no sleeps. Okay. So it always informs the genre we're going to get into a little bit when you know where it's coming from. I think creepypasta tends to be more, we were just talking about it, Sam Raimi. More crazy, more in your face, more splatter, more monsters, more guts, more gore.
More pictures of Spider-Man.
To name similar stuff, the bests from creepypasta. We got like Slender Man. We got Russian Sleep Experiment.
Jeff the Killer. Yeah, the Rake. Name your mythology big bads, some Wendigos,
and you're gonna end up on the creepypasta side of things. It's not. I consider it's the Blumhouse and maybe Magnet and maybe what's the third one that does really good?
24.
No, that was the
other one.
The analogy is no sleep. The analogy is no sleep is A24.
That's fair.
And Rogue.
Bloody Disgusting.
And, yeah, well, actually, Bloody Disgusting is definitely more creepypasta.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bit of the Shudder. Yeah, no, creepypasta is more of the Shudder of internet horror fiction. A24. And of course, I'm forgetting about all the other great indie fucking studios right now, but A24 is definitely the type of shit you find on No Sleep, where people think it's high art, and it really isn't. It's just a little bit more nuanced, but for that reason, people think they're better than everyone.
The talk about Shudder just made me realize too, VHS got bought up by a new company, and now I'm scared.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, I didn't send you the link yet, but I saw that the other day that it got bought up by some like Indian or Arab country.
No.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh man, I hope we still get one every year.
Shudder doesn't own VHS anymore?
I don't think they have the IP anymore now.
No way, why? Why would they do that?
Money.
But it was making them money. It was one of the most successful movies last year.
I'll have to find that and send it your way, but yeah.
I don't want to believe that that's true.
Yeah, me neither. Just because it's been such a good time the last couple of years.
Oh, no. I mean, we got some really good ones. Are they coming out with another one? Do we know that much? No,
I don't
probably
think we
not.
do yet, no.
Yeah, then it's probably not happening. Well, Halloween was a hell of a one to go out on. Then. It'll make doing a retrospect easier knowing that it's the last. But
can't wait.
There was also a dip from VHS 3 was like 2013. We didn't get a resurgence until like 2020.
No, yeah. VHS 3 killed it for like a decade.
Yeah, so if it doesn't happen for a while, it doesn't happen for a while. It'll still be a good time to do a retrospect on the series. That's a preview to I have no fucking idea, future episode, probably 250 at this point. Or 250, I mean 350. But, yeah, we want to do a VHS series ranking where we not only go back and rewatch all of the VHS segments but we go back and rewatch them in order of enjoyment, which means starting with the shittier ones and working your way up to the best in the series. And I think that's gonna... I think we should watch it the way we currently have it ranked, and then see if our opinion changes after doing it.
Yeah.
And part of the recording of that episode is going to be about having watched it in that order, out of chronology
keep
of
having
series.
a better time each time.
And do they actually continue to get better? Is there an actual ranking? Do we verify our ranking? Or do we change it for a certain reason, and why? And I'd be interested to see where we land, because I think if we, to get into it for just a second, if we were to watch them in order, I think we would favor more of the recent ones.
Yeah, recency bias.
Better. Not only recency bias, but just... we would look at them in a different way, because we're no longer the same people we were when those original ones came out, or when we watched those original ones. Like, that was like 8 years ago.
The road moves pretty fast.
And it's just horror. Like, I think if you watch them in order of your personal opinion, we're going to find a journey in how we climb this fucking mountain, and we measure it up to that standard. Yeah. It's gonna be a task, because how long is that? That's gonna take
all of those movies.
That's
together?
Gonna take 2 or 3 days. It's probably gonna take an entire weekend just to watch all that shit.
I'm game. I'll sleep on a couch.
Yeah, no, I know, but even now I'm trying to do the math. That's how many movies? 8 or 9?
I think it's
Wasn't it its 8th?
I think it's 8. Yeah.
I want to say it's 8. What did they?
That's not including.
They did 5, and
Kids and Aliens,
and
or
Netflix
Siren.
did 3.
Yeah.
And that's right. I don't want to include them. They're
Side
separate
spin-offs.
They're separate movies. I think introducing them will just be fucking chaotic. Keeping it between the standard, like, just what was in those films, just what was covered, just segments. Wraparound narratives, but it's because it's a part of the experience. I think even putting the wraparound narratives next to one another when I edit it, it's going to be fun to watch the wraparound narrative in order, without any segments interrupting it. I can literally just put like a VHS in between the segments, because the first one ends and the second one ends with them putting a tape into a VCR, so it's like each segment's just going to feed into the next. No, but that's absolutely going to happen at some point. I have no idea when. I care about it a lot, so I tend to make that my bookend, like a huge deep dive about a series. It's either the first thing I do that year or the last thing I do that year. So it's either going to be fucking 326 or 350. That's the next season. That's a year from now, you know?
It's so beloved. And if it's not beloved, go fuck out and watch it. It is so good. Mark Rooster.
Yeah, Mark Rooster did not want to do that, and we got it on recording in that episode of him saying that.
If you don't love steady cams, I guess I get it.
Yeah, no, he really hates first-person shit. Yeah. He really doesn't like it. He actually, I think he said it would make him dizzy and or sick, and for that reason, he would not want to do it.
That's not a good time.
No, sure. But also, those are good movies. I think you should just take a fucking... I don't know. What's...
Valium.
Yes. No, there's absolutely something that you take before you get on, like, a roller coaster if you don't want to get fucking rocked.
Yeah.
You know? Anywho, back to Patreon episode. Support me! This is an episode we're going to dedicate to a special someone. And I did originally ask him if he wanted to be on an episode, and he said, not really, and I don't blame him. I'm of course talking about our Patreon subscriber, Hal. I think he said he might come on and do some questions or something at some point, but that he didn't really have anything to add, and he didn't think he was as interesting a person as Barbara Manatee, who was the last Patreon subscriber we had on. Shout out to Barbara.
He's the dad from Malcolm in the Middle.
How?
He's one of the Green Lanterns.
How? Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't you live in like fucking Denmark or Sweden or something?
That's
Comment
cool.
below. Message me on the chat. This is me talking to you through the internet. How? Don't you live in a different country or something? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll get you an answer some
Is
other
it just
time.
the robot from
Yeah,
the Stanley Kubrick movie?
Space Odyssey, yeah. There's a lot of good Hals out there. I'm pleased to bring you a story from Hal from Patreon that we're going to read today. It was already name dropped. Deputy Dewey is talking about the drunk tank. Now, the thing about the drunk tank, and what I didn't want to tell you before we got into it, is I think this guy was inspired by Dogscape.
Oh.
And I don't know if you remember Dogscape. It's an episode I recorded with Django Phillips. It's one of my favorite episodes we recorded together because it's a post-apocalyptic future of if the thing succeeded.
Eek.
If the dog ever got back to civilization, what would happen?
Chaos.
And it does.
Yeah.
The story is a hand journal written maybe some 20 to 200 years after that happens, and what the world has become after that happens. And we joke about it, but the answer is dog. So, to get into it, Dogscape, the planet becomes dog, because the ground becomes dog, and the ground has mouths like dog, and eyes like dog, but you are a person living on skin of dog, but dog is covering the planet like a big skinny flapjack.
And the only crypto that matters is Dogecoin. I get it.
Dog. So, I mean, that's the joke that Django hated so much about that episode is because everything is dog.
He is a cat person.
God damn it, why did I read that with him? So, I like it because it holds its cards to its hand until the very last chapter, which is someone getting to the North Pole and realizing that the ground is actually ground and it's actual Earth because the dog can't exist there. If it's a giant skin contact lens covering more than half the planet, it would not be at either of the poles.
Okay.
Because it'd be too cold for it to exist there. So it is a future where more than half of the Earth likely is covered in a skin mutation layer that grabs at people and tries to consume them and make them join the mound. So
What's the end game of that?
consume everything.
And then what?
That's it.
That's it. Good.
I mean, that's what Dead Space asks.
Yeah.
Dead Space asks that exact narrative. What happens when an entire planet is converged? It starts contacting other planets because it's almost sentient at that point. So it moves through space. It tries to eat other planets and spread to other planets.
Okay.
It's also the Flood.
Gotcha.
From Halo. It's there's a hive mind somewhere, but they all only exist to spread. And the terrifying aspect about reading that story is just what it means for someone to live in a world like that, where either they were born into it or they remember the downfall of humanity. Huge shout out to Dogscape. Go back and listen to that episode. I think it's like fucking 47 or something. I don't fucking know. This is episode 309. We've come quite a far away from the Dogscape lands. This guy who wrote this story, I believe, thanked Dogscape in his earlier recommendations. I don't believe he wrote it. I don't think so, at least. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he shouts it out as inspiration. And the reason why is because that is a huge narrative told from the perspective of several different people. All across time. All across the apocalypse, seemingly. So,
Very standard.
taking that to mind, someone names a story Drunk Tank, and each chapter heading is a new person.
Oh, okay.
So this story breaks down.
Drunk tank or multiple drunk
I don't
tanks
know.
around
The story
world?
breaks down into, I think, 4 or 5 names.
Okay.
And we can either each take a name and just kind of switch off that way, or we could get through the names together, however you want to go about doing it. But I'm here with Deputy Dewey. We're going to read Hal's submission from Creepypasta specifically, written by, I believe, EmpyrealInvective is the name on Creepypasta, and his story is titled Drunk Tank.
If you know Deputy Dewey, you know Deputy Dewey's taking names.
Yeah, no, we're taking names down because I think we're throwing them in
We
fucking
threw
jail.
a lot of names in this episode. This
I think
episode is
it's-
dedicated to a lot of things.
I think it's meant to simulate people who end up in jail in the middle of the night.
Fair enough.
Isn't that what they call the drunk
Yeah.
tank? Or
And
people that they think are crazy
And
enough
to the
to
police,
end up
all
there?
you are is a name.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing else.
that's what we're doing. That's what we're getting into. And I got a kitty on my lap.
So, for perspective, right now it's January, and I'm starting to have January movie fatigue. What does that mean? Well, it just
Fuck
means
you, it's January.
that all the movies I'm seeing are kind of lackluster, but they're still surprising me. This January hasn't been too bad.
No, I've been enjoying myself. I'm definitely already excited to talk about
Iron Lung.
2026 movies. Way too soon.
Dracula, Sand Help. We don't need to talk about Return to Silent Hill, because guess what? I don't want to return to that movie.
We also still gotta watch Primate
Oh no.
and Strangers Chapter 3.
Why?
Because I'm a masochist.
Guys, we're doing it on Thursday, and I selected to do it on Thursday because I didn't want to ruin my weekend by going on Friday.
Yes, that's why we're going on Thursday. Yeah, this is Drunk Tank by EmpyrealInvective. Yep.
That's a name.
And this is from Creepypasta. It has a foreword before it gets into the names.
Okay.
Forward, the Messiah modification. Modified Klebsiella planticola. I know that sounds crazy, so let me explain it. It was lauded as an agricultural revolution. Scientists had managed to modify a strain of bacteria that were present in the root system of every plant called Klebsiella planticola. Typically, when a plant breaks down, it produces a sludge that is potentially detrimental to other surrounding plants that need to be removed or neutralized. These modified bacteria would instead turn that decomposition into ethanol, otherwise known as alcohol. Years of research and study failed to see the obvious flaw in the design, which was plants' inability to survive in soil with a high concentration of alcohol. This little oversight was overlooked until it was too late. Once the modified bacterium was released, it proliferated and quickly rendered the once thriving farmland of the Mideast infertile. Agriculturalists tried to contain the damage, but Pandora's box had already been opened. The trade winds were what damned the world. What was once one nation's tragedy quickly spread and infected other countries through wind currents, which carried the modified bacterium to new continents. Within 3 months, half of the world's land had been infected. Half a year later, roughly 75% of cultivatable land was rendered useless for planting. 9 months after the agricultural revolution was unleashed on the world, every single root system had been infected by Klebsiella planticola. On the anniversary of the cataclysm, scientists saved the world with another modified bacterium. This one also targeted the root system and allowed it to absorb the alcohol that lay in the soil without killing the plant. Of course, the damage had already been done. A byproduct of absorbing the alcohol in the soil was that seeds, plants, and fruits or vegetables were tainted and contained high levels of alcohol. Eating one fruit was now the rough equivalent of taking a shot. It would have seemed like an alcoholic's wet dream had it not decimated the world and resulted in the deaths of millions. Once a majority of the untainted crops and preservatives were consumed, humanity had no choice but to use and eat the crops that had been tainted with the bacterium. The first few weeks were lost in a drunken haze of chaos and alcoholic inhibition. Those that managed to find a medium and not be consumed by the chaos eventually built up a bit of a tolerance to the alcohol-laden diet, and despite the cruel new world, they managed to continue living. This will focus on a few people in their attempts to survive in this place, as they and the world itself continues to shamble on to their drunken end.
Okay. Kind of giving me Last of Us vibes. Bacterium issue.
I am already immediately back in Dogscape mind of view, because that is a fun way to say, let us experiment with different people's point of view over a particularly apocalyptic situation. Last of Us was immediately brought to mind.
Pancake mix.
I was going to say it was wheat and flour. It was never explicitly pancakes in the video games. It was just grain-based products.
Well, fair enough. I'll fuck people up.
Yeah. I think it started Middle East first, and then very quickly moved to the West.
Better become gluten-free.
I now need to reach for my drink without disturbing my cat. Okay,
That's a good kitty. So what name is first on our repertoire?
You're going to read for the wonderful Harriet Porter.
Oh, I am Harriet Porter. I felt the room begin to spin, and I tried my best to distract myself. I didn't want to throw up and lose all the hard work I spent trying to fill my stomach. The best way I found to prevent this was to focus on the irony of my situation. A few years ago, I would have welcomed the idea of being perpetually drunk, but that was why I was still viewing the world from the bottom of a bottle. Now I don't have much choice in the matter. I thought back on what they had told me back at my intervention. They self-righteously explained to me how I would consume myself and become a hollow shell. I might have listened to them if my family or friends had attended, but instead the circle of friends that had conveyed was only comprised of work friends. They hadn't really cared about me. They were worried about the hospital's reputation. They wouldn't have minded if I drowned in my own sick in my off time, but the fact that I had to come into work once or twice hungover was the straw that broke the camel's back. They had spouted pointless platitudes about me. They said they cared, and in actuality, the only thing they cared about was the hospital's status as the top care provider in the lower Michigan area. I nodded, wept a few crocodile tears, and promised I would quit drinking. I had no plans to stop, but my empty assurances were all they really wanted after all. I had built up the perfect system for getting by. A couple of shots after work and over the weekend was enough to keep the memories at bay, and my childhood bedroom door creaking open as I desperately pretended to sleep. Sounds like where am I?
Oh no!
I only slipped a few times, and those were never my fault. A persistent prick at the hospital, or bar who didn't know when to take no for an answer, or a massage from my foster mother set me off. Oh, sorry, message. Be weird to get a massage from my foster mother.
Stepmom.
And made me want to drown the feeling. The day I had come into work hungover was a result of a Facebook message reminding me that it was the anniversary of the bastard's death.
The bastard.
He had a heart attack in my bed. He had overexerted himself and was clasping at his chest and gasping as the last little bit of air in his lungs was wrenched away from him.
While boning.
You know, as an EMT once, I went to a local motel, and a prostitute was very sad because the man that she was banging died while she was fucking him.
Aww.
And, like, what a way to go.
I mean, great, yeah.
Yeah. He was very old, she was very young.
She, taking him to the Bone Temple.
Yeah, the Bone Zone.
To speak about another good movie.
They saw some bones. I saw some bones that night.
Hell yeah.
I watched for a few minutes before I put his pants back on and called for help once I was sure it was too late to save him.
Yeah.
My tolerance was what saved me in the first few weeks of the alcoholic apocalypse. I was already used to a liquid diet, and the prospect of ingesting 4 or 5 shots alongside my food was not a daunting prospect. The trick, as is the case with being a high-functioning alcoholic, is moderation. Eat a little bit at a time and space your meals out. Most tried to eat everything all at once to save themselves from the taste, which is akin to a bitter liquor, but only led them to getting sick. Slow and steady was the key. My distraction worked, and the room evened itself out. I focused on an object sitting on a shelf. I was clear-headed enough to tell what it was. A dented and puffy can of split peas, which meant I was sober enough to continue scavenging. I would be able to treat any cuts and would be straight enough to know whether or not I was making a stupid decision. In a world where a majority of people's inhibitions is lowered, but the prospect of mugging someone seems to have a little drawback, being restrained is the difference between life and death. Clank! I turned to the source of the noise and scurried behind a counter. Hiding was a much better option than trying to talk to an unknown person and determine if they were dangerous or not. I could always observe them and make a judgment call. I crouched down and peered over the edge at the source of the noise. I waited for them to come into view. He stumbled into view. His clothes were loose and looked like they hadn't belonged to him until only a couple of hours ago. He was humming the tune of a limerick to himself. If I had to guess, I would assume it was about a man from Nantucket and his disproportionately large genitalia. He moved sluggishly and sloppily. He was likely drunk, which wouldn't have been a big problem were it not for the other symptoms. His nose was a bright rose red that only came from a lifetime of drinking and burst capillaries. His movements were choppy, as if he had to think through every action before he took it. His head lolled, about like there was no musculature in his neck. His eyes were glossed over, and he mumbled to himself. His skin looked like it was covered in a sheen of sweat and sticky beer froth. I could smell the booze wafting off of him. This wasn't a normal person struggling to adjust to life after the cataclysm. This wasn't a man at all. This was a wet brainer.
Oh.
Back when I worked in the hospital...
Someone who ate too many fruits.
Yeah.
Like, where am I?
Yum, yum, yum. Every now and then we would deal with late-stage alcoholics who were literally drinking themselves to death. Some suffered from an affliction called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. It was commonly found in people who drank excessive amounts of alcohol over a prolonged period of years. Common symptoms were sluggish, uncoordinated motor skills, even when sober, minor auditory and visual hallucinations, erratic behavior, quickness to ire and irrational behavior, and fluctuating emotions. In the drunk tank, our world had become these were the wild cards. At times they were lethargic, and at others they were downright psychotic. I remembered one sufferer from...
So they're zombies.
Yeah, so it is... Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one sufferer at the hospital forcing his way through 3 burly security guards, breaking one's nose and another's ribs, to get to a bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Hell yeah.
Which didn't even have the right type of alcohol for getting inebriated. These people were dangerous, and I was trapped in a supermarket.
That's how I felt watching Markiplier drink the fucking isopropyl alcohol in the iron lung.
Oh no!
I was like, dude, that's not gonna. No, it's just gonna be gross. What do you? No.
That's for the outside wounds, not the inside.
Not the inside, not the head wounds.
My safest option was to keep quiet and hope that he was just passing through. He could be completely robotic and just running through motions of day-longs past, or he could be suffering a psychotic break from reality. It was a flip of the coin.
All of the above.
And I didn't like those odds. It was best to avoid them completely. I was hunched over the counter, behind my stomach, but my stomach betrayed me and growled. It was a long, deep, hollow sound, and I could practically hear his entire body whip in my direction. There was a brief pause while I fabricated hopes that he hadn't heard it. Of course those dreams were shattered when he howled, "I know you're in here, I can smell you!" So not quite zombies, if they're yelling that.
I was to say, the difference of a zombie is what's it going to do when it finds out you're there? Just annoy you?
Mm-hmm.
Get me alcohol.
Come on.
Sobering up.
I'm not that drunk.
You got another beer?
You're that drunk.
You know, fuck you.
I scrunched myself into my hiding spot. If he was bluffing, I would rather not give him a cause to search me out if I were unsure. He continued with his over-exaggerated sniffing and catcalls. He drunkenly crooned as he continued to drive me out of my hiding
smell
place.
your vagina from here.
It's quite wafting. This was clearly someone who had completely broken from reality. I had no intentions of indulging in his depravities. I heard him stumbling about the room, kicking discarded cans and trash as he moved. The constant influx of alcohol had rendered him insolent. I vowed to keep quiet until he passed. My stomach had other things in mind. It growled once again, and I could hear the man change direction towards the counter. I was crouched behind. My position had been given away. I took a moment to steel myself. I would need to put on a strong front if I was going to confront this wet-brainer. A strong stance would likely discourage him from any advances. Once I was sufficiently fortified, I rose up from behind the counter, just in time to see him jump up on it. In the time it had taken me to build my resolve, he had somehow managed to strip down to nothing. Oh, baby.
Oh, no.
He hopped up on the checkout counter with surprising lightness that only someone who had dulled their senses would have thought was a good idea. It would have been comical if not for the gun in his hands. Whoa, this is getting wild.
That's not good.
He gestured towards me with the handgun and spoke with drunken bravado. "Found you." I winced. He had his finger on the trigger, and all that lay between a bullet perforating my chest was an intoxicated twitch of the hand. I spoke cautiously, trying to reason with him. "Let's talk this through, just for 1 second. There's no need for talking anymore." I desperately tried to think of a way out of this. At this range, he could spray the area with semi-automatic fire if he tried to run. The gun was still in his hand, so I couldn't overpower him either. I was trapped between a rock and a hard place. I found out the revulsion as I tried to think of a way out. He had set the gun down, but it was too close to him for me to try and outreach him. He snapped, tired of waiting, "Quit stalling and take off your..." His words were cut short when I threw my shirt at him and covered his face with it. He immediately swore and pawed at the gun he had next to him. Limiting my options, I sprinted for the aisles as he pulled my shirt off his face, grabbed the gun. I'd hoped that he was too drunk for gunplay, and the prospect of chasing me down would dissuade him. But sadly, he thought otherwise. As I rounded the corner to duck into an aisle, I heard the crack of a gun, and a jar of pickles that had fermented with time exploded near me, dousing me in its boozy brine. I kept running as the smell smoked into my hair and made me want to vomit. I heard his feet slapping the ground behind me. He fired again as soon as he rounded the corner of the aisle. I felt the bullet whiz by me. I skidded to a stop and at a frozen food section and went to duck into another aisle. I hazardly looked to see him if he was catching up, and that was my biggest mistake. He charged through the aisle like a bull with his handgun raised. He squeezed the trigger 3 times in rapid succession. The glass behind me exploded inward, and another bullet pinged off a metal girder nearby. I started to run when the third round caught me in the shoulder and sent me sprawling into the garbage, glass littered, and the supermarket floor.
Harriet!
The bullet had torn through the flesh of my left shoulder and shattered my scapula on its way out. I would have limited range of motion after this, but it wasn't fatal. The alcohol thinned my blood and made my wound weep. The glass and trash dug into my back and cut up my skin.
This is the way you read it.
The pain made me want to pass out, but my body fought to stay conscious. I began to crawl through the debris in an attempt to get further away from him. He dragged himself into view, wheezing and panting at his exertions. Sweat trickled off his beer belly and got trapped in his matted hair. He walked towards me slowly as a grin spread across his face. His bare feet crunched glass with each step, but he was likely too drunk to even feel it. I won't describe what happens next. You don't need to hear it to know what he wanted to do was bad. More than that. Terrible. Horrible. Atrocious. Epstein level.
Oh shit, it doesn't actually say that.
No, it doesn't. One of the worst things someone can do to someone
You're
else.
right, it's worse.
A violation of my security, a reason for me to always be on edge at the grocery store, waiting, glancing, fearing. In the past, when I told this story, I felt the need to explain it in detail to portray how terrible a thing it is, as if people wouldn't believe me otherwise. This isn't Harriet's voice. This is my own, bleeding through from a hyper-granulated wound that I tried to heal from too fast and foolishly kept ripping open by picking at it. While my experience was nowhere near as bad as Harriet's, or honestly, a sad number of my friends, it still decimated me in a way that I hope comes through if anyone has qualms about this reworking or wants to know why I'm censoring myself.
Oh, that's the author saying that.
Yeah. Almost a decade after the fact, I still feel sick to my stomach that I wrote this. My experience was nowhere near this. A sad part of me wanted to show how much of a violation it felt like to me. I don't need to do that. Depressingly, I don't need to discuss a similar experience as statistically, there is a sadly strong possibility that you may already know. I don't need to find the words to convey something that you already know, or should already know through basic human decency. He was too focused to see my hands wrap around the glass shard. I stabbed into the soft of his stomach and pierced his diaphragm. He gasped in shock as I shoved him away from me. He flopped onto his back as I straddled him, and I pinned him down. I raised the shard of glass and stabbed into my exposed fat. I knew it was cutting into my palm, but I didn't care. I knew it would leave a scar. I knew there was no way I was leaving this place without scars. I kept stabbing until he stopped struggling. I stood up as he writhed on the ground with 8 stab wounds in his torso. I tried to let go of what was left of the glass shard, but it was fixed in my hand, with our blood intermingling. I looked over his form. Blood dribbled out of the punctures I left in him. He squirmed and tried to curl up into himself, as if the motion would help him stem the bleeding. It wouldn't. In the moment, he wasn't a stranger. I watched my stepfather writhing on the ground, trying to press his blood back into his body. I only opened my eyes when I heard him roll off the bed and hit the ground with a heavy thud. I got off the bed and watched him feebly gasp for help. His eyes met mine and recognition filled with them. He knew why I was doing this. He knew what was happening, and that prospect terrified him. I watched as his breathing stilled. I thank God for heart attacks. I stayed by his cold form for an hour until I was certain that he was dead. The man in the supermarket was not my father. His fate had been more brutal, more painful. I had punctured his diaphragm. Even if I had decided to try and treat him, he would likely still die. I had no desire to save him. He didn't deserve to be saved. He realized what was happening and what was coming. He howled for a brief second. It came off as a low, mournful sound, like some sort of supermarket ghost damned to wander the aisles, trying to figure out what had gone wrong in its life. Once he was gone, I took his handgun. There were a few bullets left. It likely wouldn't deter any wet brainers, but it gave me the sense of security I felt like I needed in that moment. I walked over to his bunched up clothes he had hastily discarded in the rush. I was tempted to leave them, but I wanted to check and see if there was anything valuable. One pocket seemed to be completely filled with beer tabs. The other had some loose change and 2 spare bullets. I loaded it and was about to walk away, but something stopped me. I turned the pocket filled with beer tabs inside out and let them all spill onto the linoleum floor. Dozens upon dozens of tabs fell out and jingled pointlessly onto the ground. Building a small monument in celebration of his sickness, within the cascade of junk was 2 items. I knelt down and picked them up. The first was an old Polaroid photo that had been balled up and worn out with time. He looked younger by a couple of decades, but it definitely wasn't the wet brainer. The man was in a hospital room. He was sitting in a chair and clutching a newborn baby to his chest. The look he had on his face was that of adulation and exultation. It was apparent that he truly loved this baby. The crumpled Polaroid slid out of my hand and came to rest on the mountain of tabs. The other item looked like a poker chip. It was plainly colored, and worn out around the edges, as if someone had spent a lot of time rubbing the plastic disc in their hand while debating whether or not they were going to continue.
The question is it white or red?
Ooh, is that a thing?
That'll prove if he's infected or not.
On the chip,
For those who are fans of our game.
on the chip was inscribed the following words: "You're the goddamn thing." Nah, it says XXV. To thine own self be true.
That's 25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked over the photo, did the math, and added up the years. Once I was certain, I returned to the naked man to dress him. Just like before, I decided that I would redress him, and just like the first time with my stepfather, I wept while I did it. Unlike that night those 3 decades ago, where I wept for myself, this time I wailed for someone else. This time it was for the man. I didn't cry over what he was, but for what he once was. I dressed him and left the family photo and the sobriety chip clasped in his sticky, cold hands. I couldn't stop. Tears continued pouring out from me like blood from a stab wound. I wept for myself now. I wept for the world as well. Not for what had become, but for what we once were, and what we could never return to. And now it's time to hear from Rhea O'Connor.
Look at this cat, though.
That is a pretty cute cat. And she be purring, and she be grabbing that hand.
So she has fallen into my right hand and has her other entire arm wrapped around my left hand, and she will not let me move it. She has placed her entire head in the palm of my left hand.
Can you hear it? Do you hear that purr? That's a cat.
That's a cat.
That did not get shot in the head in the grocery store.
Fucking cuddly cat. I have to hand you off now.
Oh, that's so sad.
I cannot support you.
This is not acceptable.
Support me.
Be so weird when
I knew she was gonna yell at me.
when Penny shows up on the Patreon list. It's gonna be weird.
I knew she was gonna yell at me. She yells at me whenever I move, whenever I get up in the morning. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing? I was sleeping."
Jerk.
Yeah.
What should Penny's name be on the podcast?
I think Penny is fine because her legal name is Miss Moneypenny. MISSMONEYPENNY.
It's a famous Cyclops.
Or when she's naughty, Miss Money Pussy.
Ooh, no.
What's the name of the one from the Odyssey? Polyphemus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, it's gay.
Percy Jackson's brother killed him.
Percy Jackson. Hell yeah. So are these all going to be women? Because now I feel like I should have read this with a girl.
Oh, we be ladies.
Who's that lady? Father Stoker. Never mind. You're going to read for a guy next.
Yeah, well, guess what? Father Stoker is transvestite.
Who's that lady? Sexy lady.
It's Father Stokely.
It's Father Stoker. Now it's Rhea O'Connor. Let me preface this all by saying how sorry I am.
Say you're sorry.
Sorry.
Nice.
When I first tell you, kick within me.
As a baby.
I knew you would be strong. It didn't matter what they told me or what I saw. I knew you were strong when you clenched my finger in your hands. I'm talking about Penny. I knew that you would be a shining beacon of light in this world. You grasped my finger so tight that I was certain that it would break under the pressure. We had suffered so much, so many indignities. I was sure that you would live up to your name. I was right. You were strong. You were the strongest child I ever met. I feel like I have to tell you about how you came to be. You deserve that much. You were a miracle. I never assumed that I was ready for children. Whenever the topic came up, I always explained that I wasn't prepared for that responsibility. How could I care for such an innocent thing when I couldn't even care for myself? I was still a baby myself and unable to bear the responsibilities of being both a child and a parent. I always told myself that I wasn't ready for any of this. But in the end, it wasn't me who chose the time, it was God. He wasn't the prince I had always hoped for. He didn't make me feel safe. He didn't make me feel warm. He didn't make me feel loved. He only filled me with a revulsion that still resounds inside me. It wasn't your fault. You were blameless in all of this. At the very end of things, I wouldn't want to tell you about your father. The only thing I knew about him was that he was harsh and he smelled saccharine sweet, like fermented fruits. He wasn't a person, and I'm glad he's gone. That's all you should know about him. You didn't deserve to hear that. You were innocent and pink. None of this was your fault. So every night I held my stomach and felt you turn and twist in my embrace. I told you sweet stories. I told you that your father would be a sweet and compassionate man. I told you that he would teach you how to be strong. I told you that he would be here. Not the actual man, but someone better. Someone you deserved to have. I lied. In the end, there was no one except you and I. The people who had vowed to support me drifted apart after the first sign that something was wrong. I tried to hide the stomach aches and the discomfort, but once the symptoms were there, they knew what they had to do. I wasn't the person that they had wanted. I wasn't their salvation. You weren't their salvation. You weren't going to be a shining beacon rising from the tainted world unaffected. That was fine. It didn't matter that you weren't perfect. You were in me, and that was all that mattered. I carried you for the next couple of months and tried to keep you safe. I tried to avoid alcohol when I could, but towards the end, I realized that I had no choice. There was nothing left in the world, and our only option was to eat what we could. It was bitter, and every bite reminded me that I was hurting you. I hoped you were strong enough to adjust to this new world, but with every passing day, I knew that that wasn't true. I held you within me until I grew gravid. Is that a word? Gravid. Never heard it. I assume it means shriveled and gross.
Oh, it means gay.
I felt you struggle to break free into the world, but I kept you
Pregnant,
inside.
carrying eggs or young.
Never mind.
Full of meaning or a specified quality.
I wanted a few more moments to keep you all to myself. You were a bright beacon, and I wanted that light all to myself. I don't regret my decision. I pressed you into myself and felt your warmth and light suffuse my core. You were my hope and my light. That light died a few weeks later. The stomach pains became more frequent, and my excuses began to dry up like water in a drought. I held tight to the belief that you were a miracle. You weren't just a child. You were the salvation of our future, the one who wouldn't be affected by this tainted world. They didn't see it. As the issue persisted, they slowly abandoned me. They knew what was coming, and they couldn't bear to watch it happen again. You decided to make your light known at the most inopportune time. I was only a few miles from the nearest town when my water broke. My first reaction was to foolishly press the liquid back into me as though it would stall the process. It didn't. And as I watched the amniotic trickle through my fingers, I realized that your time had come and that you would greet this world out in the wilderness. I laid down and hiked up my legs. I had no choice, no idea what I was doing, but that didn't matter. I fortified myself with the conclusion that you would be strong enough for the both of us. I prayed you would not be a breech birth, and you answered my prayers. You came gently in my intoxication, numbed any pain I would have felt. It took 3 hours for you to emerge into this world. You brightened it up the moment you arrived. You darkened it 15 minutes later when you passed away.
Oof.
You didn't come into this world crying like a normal child. You were quiet. I pulled you towards me and felt your umbilical cord press right against my stomach as I held you close. It was cold. You were colder than you should have been. Your eyes were so close together, and it almost seemed as if you had a third eye in the middle of your face. There was a hole there, through which I could see your final moments. Your eyes had not developed, and your nose was little more than a bump above your lip. You struggled to breathe. I held you close to me and sang to you in your final moments, Jesus Christ! I sang songs my mother used to sing to me as a child. I sang sweet saccharine songs as you fought to breathe in my embrace. You wanted to preserve so much that you continued living for much longer than you should have.
Jesus.
I held you even after you became cold. I held you as you turned blue. I held you as I dug your grave and laid you to rest. I still hold on to you even to this day. I will never let go. Gabriel, you are my one and only child, and I will never let you be forgotten. I survived the birth, although I shouldn't have. I staggered into town with blood and amniotic fluid dribbling down my thighs. They managed to save me and get me the transfusion I desperately needed and patched me up. I spent a few weeks convalescing in their care. The smart ones kept their mouths shut and didn't ask me questions or tell me how lucky I was to be alive. I wasn't lucky. I wasn't alive. I left as soon as I could. I gave no reason for leaving them, and they made no attempt to stop me. I wasn't their ilk, and they weren't mine. I walked away and pressed on to this cruel world. This world had become wormwood, and I was another one of its many victims. We were slowly dying, and nothing we could do could change that. I called you strong earlier. I was right. You were strong. You were strong enough to realize that you didn't belong in this world. You were strong enough to realize that this wasn't where you belonged. You had the fortitude to leave, even if it meant hurting me in the process. I was right when I gave you your name. You were Gabriel. God is my strength. You were strong enough to realize that this wasn't your world. You were strong enough to realize that your only place was by God's side. He called you to him, and you followed. It's true that you left me, but it's also true that you are by God's side. There isn't much left to write, but goodbye. Goodbye, Gabriel. I love you with all of my heart. Rhea O'Connor. Dear Gabriel, let me start all of this by telling you how sorry I am. You are the light of the new world, and I should have let you shine. Instead, I kept you within me. I'm sorry, but after hearing all of this, you will surely forgive me. Dozens of similar letters have been recovered from multiple sites all throughout the Midwest. They all start end to end differently, but other than that, they're virtually identical. The nature and content of the letters have led to many people passing around stories of having found them tucked under dolls and stuffed into empty baby bassinets. These letters have given rise to a new urban legend. On a dark night, the most intoxicated will attest to seeing a woman walking on the abandoned roads shortly after having read or heard about one of these letters. They say that she walks the roads seeking her lost child. They say that the self-inflicted wounds on her wrist drip a blood that almost looks black in the moonlight. That is their horror story. They do not realize that the truth is much more terrifying. The woman is not dead. She is not a ghost in the traditional sense that haunts the world. She is still alive. In a way, she continues to walk the roads, and every reflective moment is devoted to the child that she lost years ago. The toxic land only serves to send her spiraling back into those moments. She is trapped in a cycle of intoxication, constantly reliving the memory of the child she lost. She holds him to this very day. She will hold him to the very end, even though he is weighing her down.
Oof. Man, Drunk Tank's kind of a bummer. Things ain't going well for these people.
Drunk Tank is one of the worst futures I can actually consider.
Yeah.
Like, we are stupid enough to fuck around with biology. We are stupid enough to fuck ourselves into oblivion like this.
This is the room you get to have.
It's dogscape, but Objectively, well, no, Dogscape is worse, definitely. But it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad because there's no future. With Dogscape, there's like a maybe I can get away from the fucking Dogscape. With this, there's nowhere to go. Dogscape is a physical threat. This is like a metaphysical threat. This is like it's pervasive in everything you do. How can humanity survive if all of our births are toxic fucking alcohol mutated fetus babies?
Yeah.
How can humanity survive if we have nothing to consume but alcohol? Like, how can you... Like, we don't. It's a very pitiful and sad stumble to the grave. And we still have 2 more parts to read. On to Father Stoker.
When I was an EMT, one of like the most messed up videos that we watched while in training was of this hippie woman that was giving birth in a bathtub, and she wanted like the birth to be like all natural.
I know someone who just had a natural birth.
She did a really bad job. It was like straight up like pulling this child out of her vagina while standing up.
That's not good.
And like the cord was wrapped around this baby's fucking throat, so it was blue and like dying. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ.
That's not good.
Please know what you're doing if you're giving birth.
Yeah, no, this child's birth went great. I just saw it at a dinner the other night. It was the baby looked beautiful.
Nice.
This woman had a completely at-home birth in fucking 2025. It was nuts.
I believe a breech birth is when like your ass comes first, and that's
hell yeah.
Because you need your head to come first.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so this is Father Stoker, and I'm stoked to hear about
like Father
him.
Stroker if you're the one reading it.
No, that's not good. I'm going to jail. Alright. The mantra echoes in my head. It isn't hard to see why this statement holds true. Society is falling apart. Neighbors turned against neighbors. Fathers have taken blades to their sons. It is appropriately biblical. The third trumpet has sounded, and soon he will return. But the way needs to be made clear first. The thought of God's wrath cuts through the drunken haze and allows a memory to resurface. I try to bury it back down into the slurry, but it bubbles up and rises to the surface. I realize the futility and I embrace the recollection. I remember my flock asking me why I didn't partake in communion whenever I was blessing the Eucharist. I had 3 answers to that question depending on my relationship to them. To those in my flock that I didn't know too well, I told them that I didn't like the taste of wine. That's a lie. I liked the taste of wine. I liked it a lot. To those that I was closer to, I told them that I used to have an issue of controlling myself when alcohol was present. That was a half-truth, half-lie. I wouldn't elaborate further on that for them. I would let them draw their own conclusions. The full truth that I only spoke to God in the quiet of my room was that there was nothing past tense about my alcoholism. I didn't drink the sacrament because I knew that all it took was just the taste of it on my tongue to send me spiraling back down. I knew how easy it was to relapse. The past memories are inexplorably linked. I cannot remember my fruitless pledge to quit drinking without recalling why I had to make that vow. I only remember bits and pieces of the night before I met him. I had just rolled over and faced the street. I had failed to make it back to my apartment once again. My knuckles stung and my small crust of blood on them. I remembered splitting open someone's lip at the bar earlier, but who it was or for what reason was still murky. I really didn't need much reason other than the sensation of laying someone low. Waking up in the street didn't really matter much to me. I was used to waking up like that. What I wasn't used to was having company. The man had just knelt down to look me over for injuries. He was likely kneeling. But he was kneeling in my own urine. But he was so focused on me that he didn't notice, or didn't care. In one hand, he held a bottle of water, in the other, a Bible. He gave me the former and talked to me for an hour. Before he gave me the latter, It didn't take much convincing me to go with him. I only saw two choices back then. I could either drink myself to death or make something of myself. I thought that I could transcend my weakness. I hoped that God would raise me up and give me the strength I needed. The irony of it all was not escaped from me. God is not benevolent. God is cruel. We cannot escape what he had planned for us. My path wasn't this priesthood. My chosen path was that of evangelizing his word. My duty was to carry out his will in another way. I had 15 years to convince myself of the lie I had been saying every day as a matin and a vesper. At the very end, I had told myself so much that I'd changed that part of me actually believed it. 15 years later, wormwood would descend and taint everything. I would relapse and revert back to what I always was. My congregation would leave me as soon as they saw what I'd become. I was my father's son. I was angry and belligerent. They found me in the gutter a few days later. My aspirations were born in the gutter, and that was where they died. The memory sinks back into the hazy mind. I let it go. I don't need to remember. I'm better in my stupor. I haven't moved very far since everything began, and that's fine by me. I have everything I need here. The church has an old garden that feeds my habit and keeps me under the Lord's influence. It's large enough to keep me going for a few more months. No one else visits it. The fruit tastes bitter, but most gifts from the Lord are. I washed away the taste with the communal wine. The Lord provides. All I have to do is wait. I wait in the gutter. It is right next to the main stretch of road, so I typically don't have to wait long during the day for people to pass. I don't move from that spot. To do so would give me away my intent. Staying slumped over and seemingly in a stupor is the perfect camouflage. They think I'm one of them, and they leave me alone. I guess in a sense it is true. I am one of them. I am what they call a wet brainer. I don't see myself like the other alkies, though. The others are mindless, sluggish. They react to the stimuli like the automatons.
If this one has the sense to be able to write something, then I'm okay with it.
I am not like them, then again. They could be saying the same thing about me. I don't know what's going on in their heads, and they have no idea what's going on in mine. I am a wet brainer, but the trick lies in convincing passerbyers that I am one of the harmless variety. Out of the corner of my eye, I see them approach. They both look capable enough. One is a man and the other is a woman. The man has a bit of a paunch to him. He likely has a higher tolerance than her, as he is much heavier and has a bit more of a drunken swagger to him. She is by no means emaciated, but she also seemed to have eaten the wormwood-tainted food much less than he has. She is the first to see me. She almost stumbles to a stop, but managed to catch herself. She tugs on his shirt sleeve and points me out to them. They watch me for a few moments as if trying to decide if I am a threat to them. The man picks up a rock and tosses it in my general direction. He isn't aiming it to hit me. Rather, he wants to gauge my reaction. I wait for the rock to hit the ground before I lazily lower my head in the direction of the sound before letting it sag back down. I make no other movement than recognizing that there has been a sudden sound close to me.
Like a sloth.
Yeah. He mumbles, "Fucking wethead." They decided that I am harmless. There are two types of us. Those who are basically drunken shells who are too sloths to even move other than pursuing their buzz, and others who can't get around to that or driven by the lack of inhibition and their baser desires. These people actually seek out the inebriating ambrosia. They assume that I am too drunk to be a threat. Well, they're wrong. I waited a few moments for them to pass by before I carefully rise to my feet.
That's when he has to introduce them to Father Stroker.
I'm drunk, but not enough to forego caution. I stalk slowly behind them. I'm not wearing shoes, so I make little sound. They are unaware of me. I can hear them talking. The man's voice is a slur while the woman's is barely above a whisper. She is the smarter of the two. but he is more intimidating. He will be first.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this guy's cool. The metal bar makes a wide arc and connects to the side of his head.
This is just what it means to survive an apocalypse like this.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to take them out.
Find your way.
Yeah.
The metal bar makes a wide arc and connects to the side of his head with a heavy-sounding thunk. I feel something give way as I follow the swing through. He crumples to the ground like a puppet that has had all its strings cut. The woman is looking forward for any sign of danger, so she hasn't seen me yet. The sound of the bar hitting flesh makes her turn to the noise. She sees her companion on the ground and connects the pieces.
Yep.
She reaches for something at his side, a weapon maybe. I lash out and strike her right on the forearm. I hear the bone crack under the force of my attack. She looks at the broken radius for a second as if trying to process the information. It clicks and she opens her mouth to scream. God is cruel. I swing the bar with all my strength and it catches her cheek just as her mouth opens and the cry tries to loose itself from her lungs. I see a few teeth dislodge and go skipping across the pavement as she falls to the ground. Fucking little shit. She tries to crawl away with blood drooling out of her mouth. She is stronger than she looks. I can't have other people coming to investigate the sound of her blurbing through broken teeth. I can handle a few people, but a group would overwhelm me. I catch up to her and raise the instrument of God's wrath high above my head. God is cruel. I bring it down on the back of her skull with all my strength, caving in her cranium. The bar stings my hand, but the communion wine helps dull the pain to a slight throb. She twitches spasmodically on the street. Through the red and white, I catch a tiny glimpse of something pink. She won't be getting up after this. She's gone to the great beyond. I turn round to where the man lies. The attack caught him completely unaware, so he was unable to anticipate the blow. He is unconscious. That'll make delivering the coup de grace easier. After I finish with them, I look through their belongings to see if they have anything of value. I'm sure I'll find a weapon or two and maybe some food. Not that it'll be use to me. In the end, it really doesn't matter if they have any valuables. After rifling through their pockets and packs, I drag their bodies over to the manhole in the street. I pry open the top and I am hit with the noxious sound of the decay. In the sewer system below rest my other victims that have yet to be washed away with the waste.
Yeah.
I can't leave them out as warnings.
Back at it again.
If I am to do God's work, I don't need to raise any alarms. I need to be seen as a helpless, drunken man. I'm doing this because God is cruel and we are all his begotten children. The world has forgotten the wrath of God. He brought down wormwood and poisoned a majority of the world. I am only trying to finish the job he started. Tom Waits said it best. Don't you know there ain't no devil? There's just God when he's drunk. I am the emissary for God during his bender. These people are mine to do with as I please. I am his intent made flesh. I am his laugh. I am his rage. I am his cruelty. I am alive. Damn, Father. You crazy.
Fucking daywalker, fucking blade up
Braiding
there.
people.
Yeah, just being like, I'm just drunk enough to get by, but I also need to ensure that I'm the only drunk person around here. So I'm gonna kill all the other ones that come walking by.
I'm doing God's work, man.
Doing God's work. Just mowing the field, mowing the grass. Just getting to it. Fucking Father Stoker.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was good. That was fun. I also appreciated your accent.
Yeah, I wanted to try something different. I thought I failed with the girl before, so I was like, I could try an Irish one with a father.
You didn't fail with either. It was perfectly fine.
Was it more Irish or more Scottish? Or more just idiot white boy?
No, it was 8 different things all in one. But I appreciated each of them like a different like an ever-changing
I am not a trained
dum-dum lollipop.
I am not a thespian.
At one point it was Spanish. At another point,
Donde está la Biblia?
At another point it was like French. At another point it was like Danish or Swedish.
Those are all my accents rolled into one.
And then it went to British with certain vowels, and then it went to Irish and Scottish. It's a little, as honestly, for a guy that is drunk,
it makes sense.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna read for drunk people, I mean, I guess I could have asked where am I to come over.
That was for you, God.
All right, last one. No, wait. I think there's another one after this.
Oh shit! Surprise.
At least I think there is. Let's see. Let's find out together.
Oh, let the Schwartz be with you, dude.
Yeah, there's absolutely another one after this. Regina Lee Schwartz. I'm trying to be a big girl, but I'm scared.
You can be a big girl.
I try to hide this change with baggy clothes, but I can feel him staring sometimes. It isn't like when I was in school, and I knew a boy liked me. Liked me.
Oh, shit.
His eyes don't make me smile. It makes me feel dirty. Mommy always said I should talk to someone when I was worried, but there isn't anyone left to talk to. Instead, I'll write it in this journal and try to figure out what to do. Everything went bad on my 10th birthday. I don't remember much before then. It all seemed like a haze. I would wake up, go to school, come home, do my homework, usually with Mommy's help, have dinner, and then go to bed. It was the same day in and day out. The bad thing began during my birthday party. Mommy and Daddy had been arguing lately about what I was eating. I didn't like it when they argued. Daddy went out and got a fruit cake instead of the chocolate cake I wanted. I was upset, but I didn't cause a scene because I didn't want them to fight anymore. I was happy then. All my friends were there, and I had a lot of presents to open up. They cut the cake, and I got the first piece. It was also the largest. The cake didn't look great, but I didn't want them to fight anymore, so I ate it. It tasted like everything tastes now. It made me feel funny, but I kept eating it because I didn't want them to be mad at me. I even had a second piece and told Dad that it was delicious, even though it tasted weird. Everything got kind of blurry after that. I remember getting sick and going to the hospital. Doctors said I was intoxicated and I had to get my stomach pumped. Mom said something about pressing charges against the store. She called them a lot of bad words I'm not supposed to say. She said that they intentionally spiked the cake to make me feel funny, and they didn't have time to call the police before the other bad things started happening. Suddenly everyone started getting sick like I did. The hospital was crowded with a lot of kids like me. Soon there were too many of us, and we got sent home. My parents were angry with the hospital, but they were also scared. I told them I felt better even though my stomach still hurt. The first couple of weeks were spent watching TV. A lot of scientists said that there was a bad bacteria in the soil that they tried to get rid of with another bacteria, but something went wrong and now the fruits and vegetables were coming out that made people sick. I told my parents that we should just stop eating vegetables and fruits and we would be fine. I said that I didn't like vegetables much anyways, but they explained to me that almost everything had a little bit of fruit or vegetable in it. That made me worried. I didn't want to get sick again, and I didn't want them to get sick either. They told me everything was going to be fine, but it wasn't. It only got worse. We ate up all of our good food in a few weeks before we went to eat the bad food. We stopped watching the news after the first riot. A lot of people were dying in the city. Daddy said that it would only scare me, but I was a brave girl. Sometimes late at night I could hear them whispering to each other. I couldn't hear them, but I did hear Mommy crying a few times. I couldn't help it, and then I started to cry. I covered my mouth so they wouldn't hear me. I remember the first night we had to eat the bad food. Daddy went out to the supermarket and bought some. Mommy was mad, but he said that it was necessary. She finally tried cooking it. He had a lot of food that required cooking, but we started with apples first. He took a bite of one and cringed. He said that it was bad. Mom tried boiling it. She said that it might remove the bad stuff. The air in the kitchen smelled weird. They boiled it for a couple of minutes before leaving them to cool. He tried it and said that it wasn't as bad as before, and we sat down at the dinner table to eat. The food was mushy and tasted bad. It made me sick, but we didn't go to the hospital this time. They said that I would have to get used to it. We left our houses a few weeks after that. We lost power a few days before. Our neighbors were saying that the rioting was getting closer to us and pretty soon it would come to our street. Daddy said that we had to leave now, but Mommy wanted to stay. He shook her and said that we had to leave. He told her about what he had seen in the city. A few days before that, I noticed Daddy wasn't feeling good. He stumbled a bit and he spoke funny. I had gone to the restroom one night and found him eating food without cooking it. He told me to keep it a secret from Mommy and kissed me on the forehead. His breath smelled bad. I loved him, so I didn't tell her, but I think she knew anyway. I remember listening in on them talking the night before we left. They were arguing about me. Dad said it wasn't normal for me to be acting this way. He said I was acting too young for my age. Mom snapped at him, asking how I was supposed to be acting in this scenario. He used a big word I didn't and still don't understand. He said that I was in a state of regression and that it wasn't healthy. Mommy said that what I was doing was a blessing. She said that any way I dealt with this was fine just as long as I didn't have to see what the world is. One day I'll ask someone smart what that word means. 2 years have passed since we left home. We spent a little bit of time in shelter, but some of the people there were too weird. Mommy said that she didn't feel safe there, so we went to another place. She told Daddy that the way some of the guys there looked at her made her uncomfortable. They were fighting more often now. They didn't even try to hide it from me. Sometimes it would start over the weirdest things like food, water, or other people. Daddy was always loud with Mommy, while Mommy said mean, hurtful things. Sometimes I was worried he would hit her or she would slap him. I tried to get them to stop fighting a couple times, but they always told me that it would be all right. It wouldn't be okay. It only got worse. A few weeks after leaving, my parents started fighting every day. They didn't hug each other anymore or kiss anymore. They were always saying such mean things. Every now and then they would blame it on the food, but it was never really that. They had been arguing ever since I could remember. They just used the bad stuff as an excuse to say what they always wanted to say. I remember the last fight. Sometimes I wake up at night crying, wishing things could have been different. We were hiding out in a building and they were arguing about what to do next. Mom thought it would be safer in the capital, and Daddy thought it would be too dangerous. He said that it was too far and that there were too many dangerous people out there. We had stumbled across some people earlier who my parents told me had been sleeping, but I knew people just don't fall asleep in the middle of the street. Mommy said that we had no other choice, and she grabbed my arm. She said that we were going to go with or without him. I started to cry, and she pulled me towards the entrance. That's when Daddy hit her. Mommy rubbed at her cheek for a second before dragging me further into the building. She was crying when she told him that he had become just like his father. She told him not to follow us, and Daddy sat down in a chair like he was really exhausted. I wanted to ask Mommy what she meant by that, but she kept crying. She told me that it would be much better in the capital, and that the government would have an answer for everything by the time we got there. I was hungry, but we didn't have anything to eat. We hadn't had anything to eat in a few days, so we went to bed. I tried to sleep, but I was too worried. I wanted to check in on Daddy, so I waited a few hours until I was sure Mommy was asleep before I snuck out. I wasn't mad at Daddy. I wasn't mad at Mommy either. It was all the bad food's fault that this was happening. I tiptoed through the building looking for him. I found him in the kitchen. He was laying face first on the ground. There were a couple bottles next to him that smelled like the bad food. I tried to wake him up, but he wouldn't get up. I was getting ready to go back to bed when he got sick. It puddled on the ground beneath his face. He started twisting in it and trying to get out, but something was wrong. He didn't seem like he could roll over. He started making sounds like he couldn't breathe, and I got worried. I tried to turn Daddy over, but he was too heavy. I was too weak. I hadn't eaten anything in days, and he was big. I grabbed his shoulders and pulled, and he slid with me and rubbed his face in the sick. He continued making gasping sounds, and I got really worried. I ran to Mommy and woke her up. I told her what was wrong, but by the time we got there, it was too late. Mommy spent a long time crying. I cried too, but I did other things as well. I looked for food and tried to get help. No one would listen to me, and most people ignored me. I did manage to find a small garden a few blocks away. She just spent all day next to him, crying, even when he started to smell bad. She didn't eat any food I managed to find. I didn't know how to build a fire to boil the fruits, so I just ate it raw. It tasted really bad and it made my stomach hurt, but I didn't need to go to the hospital like the first time. I guess that was because I had eaten so much of the bad food that it wasn't as bad for me. We spent a long time in that building before Mommy got better. She still cried, but she tried to do it at night when she thought I was asleep. I didn't let her know I had heard her crying. I didn't want her to feel any worse. We didn't bury Daddy. We couldn't find a shovel, and we weren't strong enough to dig a hole or carry him, so we left him there. Eventually, she told me that we spent too much time here, and we had to leave. We said our goodbyes, and Mommy told me that even though Daddy had issues with the stuff that was in the food even before it happened, he was a good man. I didn't understand what she meant, but she said she would explain it to me when I was more grown up. She told me that it would be much safer if we headed towards the capital and that we would be going there. Both of us said our goodbyes and we left. It took a lot longer without Daddy. We mainly moved at night and we avoided everyone. Mommy said it wasn't safe for us to talk to people anymore. She said that there were bad men on the roads that would hurt us if they caught us, so we had to be quiet. We didn't really talk when we moved around at night. We walked around at night and slept during the day. We would eat food when we got it, but it still made me feel sick. Mommy seemed to enjoy the food much more now. She would eat a lot more than she usually did, and sometimes she would act really silly. I think it made her forget about Daddy. We managed to do this for a few weeks before the bad thing happened. We tried to be as quiet as we could, but eventually someone heard us. We tried to run, but he chased us into a department store. He was a big man, and he didn't have any hair on his head. His belly was round, and it looked like he was pregnant. His face was red, and he was panting heavily when he caught me. He pulled me towards him as my mom began to beg and plead. He told her to come to him, and he would let me go. She started to cry and begged him not to hurt me. He pinched my cheek hard and shouted at her. The man smelled like sweat and vomit, and I was very frightened. Mom moved over to him, and he let me go. I ran a few feet away before turning around. I didn't want to leave her alone. I was afraid that he was going to hurt her. I had left Daddy alone, and he died. I didn't want her to get hurt, too. She was all I had left. She told me to run, but I couldn't. Mommy scratched him in the face. He said some really bad words, and then he started hitting her. He wouldn't stop. I started yelling, but he kept punching her. She started screaming, but he kept going. It wasn't until she started bleeding, stopped shrieking, and he continued hitting her that I realized he wasn't going to stop. I ran away knowing that that would be the last time I saw her. I wandered around for a while. I did what Mommy and Daddy taught me. I only traveled at night and I slept during the day. I kept moving in the direction we were heading in and did my best to avoid everyone. I cried myself to sleep at night, wondering if it would be better to die and be with them than to survive and live here without them. In the end, I kept moving. I knew that they would be mad at me if I just gave up, so I continued going. I managed to live on my own for a few weeks before they caught me. There were too many of them to hide from, and they decided to search the place where I was hiding. I tried to hide in a supply closet, but they found me. I was going to fight my way out of there until I saw who it was that had discovered me. It was a 10-year-old boy. I could have easily knocked him out of my way, but seeing him made me realize something about the group. If they were traveling with a child, then they couldn't be bad people. Bad people don't care for children, they just hurt people and make them sad. The boy alerted the others and they crowded around me. I was very nervous and my stomach felt upset. There were 10 or so people with 2 children, a boy and a girl. They asked me a bunch of questions that I tried to answer. They asked me where I was from. I told them I was from a suburb. They wanted to know what I was doing. I answered that I was heading for the capital. They asked me where my family was. I told them they were dead. They didn't ask me any more questions after that.
Fair enough.
Do you see this cat?
Mm-hmm.
What a cuddle. They gave me an orange that they had taken from a supermarket. It tasted like all the other food. I couldn't even taste what it was like originally now. I could only taste the stuff that made me sick. An older man watched me eat it. He waited until I was done eating to tell me that Washington was dangerous. He said that they had come from there, and they were looking for somewhere safe. He asked me if I wanted to join them. I agreed to go with them. As we traveled, sometimes I heard them talking about me when they thought I wasn't listening. They said that there was something wrong with me mentally, that I shouldn't be acting this way. I ignored them. Daddy said the same thing, and hearing it again makes me sad. It reminds me of him. It reminds me of Mommy, too. Our group was large enough that I actually felt safe walking the streets with them. There were too many of us for the bad men to try and hurt us. I felt safe standing next to the boy and girl, even though I made them uncomfortable. I felt secure until we discovered the commune. The commune looked great at first. It provided for the people in the group and only asked that we carried our weight. We would go scavenging for supplies, materials, and medicine, and they would make sure we had a home. We were in an old hotel with a garden on the roof. They put me to picking green beans from their garden. It was boring work, but it kept me busy. I typically worked alone while the others went out looking for stuff. One of the people from the commune named Humbert would stop by every now and then to see how I was doing and to give me a drink or some food. He was nice, but I don't like him anymore. A few weeks into our stay at the commune, Humbert said he had something to give me. He took me to a room and said that he thought I looked pretty. I smiled at him, but the way he said it made me uncomfortable. I didn't want to look pretty. I panicked. I shoved him into a table and I ran out of the room. Humbert didn't chase after me. At first I thought I was going to be in trouble for pushing him. But the days passed. I realized that he hadn't told anyone. I thought that maybe he wasn't interested in me anymore, but I keep catching him looking at me in the dining hall. The way he looks at me makes me feel bad. I tried to wear baggy clothes to hide what I'm growing into, but he keeps looking at me. I know now that he's just waiting for another opportunity to get me alone, and that makes me scared. I have two choices now. I can accept what is coming and let Humbert take me into one of those rooms, or I can run away. I don't want to fight it like Mommy did and end up like her. I'm scared he's going to hurt me like that man hurt Mommy.
Man, Timu Herschel sucks.
I'm sure she's with Daddy now. I don't want to die, but I'm afraid to be alone. The other people that I joined with seem happy there. The boy and the girl are always running around and playing. Everyone is too happy to leave. I don't know if I can make it on my own. I can run, but there's a chance I could run into a bad man on the street. I thought that writing in this journal would help me decide what to do, but it hasn't. It's only made me more confused. I don't want to grow up. I don't want men to look at me this way. Humbert keeps looking at me, and I know what he wants to do. I can run away, but I don't know if I can survive out there if Mommy and Daddy couldn't. I'm scared to stay, and I'm scared to leave. I don't know what to do. I wish Mommy and Daddy weren't dead. I wish I was back in my old house with my old friends. I wish that the food didn't go bad. I wish that the bad food didn't get made. I don't want any of this. I'm scared.
Oof.
I imagine it's like a 20 or 30-year-old person regressing to that of a child because they just got
With
they've
the
gotten
regression
so
thing.
yeah, they've gotten so drunk over the course of the last 10 to 20 years ever since this thing has happened, because they said ever since they were 10, so it's been minimally 5 to 10 years for someone who doesn't imagine an 8-year-old talking like a 10-year-old because they spent the last 8 years drunk.
Yeah.
They never learned. They never grew up. Their bodies grew, but their brains didn't. Their brains were stymied by alcohol.
Oh, no.
Imagine what it would be like to be a kid growing up in that world. Like, to grow up drunk. You wouldn't be able to retain information. You wouldn't be able to remember things. You wouldn't be able to speak or act. You would be stunted.
Which sucks.
Which is why I'm thinking that this is someone who's maybe in their 20s, like going on 30s, who like had never grown up, just full child.
Explains why the other kids were like weird with them too.
It explains why people are like attracted to her. It's like they
can take advantage of that.
They're trying to take advantage of. 18-year-old or more, maybe 20, 25-year-old acting like a 10-year-old. It's that you look like a hot 25-year-old, but you notice that they have the mental capacity of a 10-year-old. Yeah, come into my car. I want to show you something fun. It's in my pocket.
That story was definitely the one that hit me the hardest.
That one, I mean, it's all the different aspects about what is so fucked up about this world. The first one is just what it means to exist. Yeah, I'm in a situation as a woman and I'm targeted and these things are crazy and there are rules. And then the second one is very, I'm a mom, what does it mean that human reproduction doesn't happen anymore? And then the third one is like, no, we're all going crazy. We're out here on the street, we're going nuts. This one's new. This is an even different angle. It's I'm a kid that's grown up in this world and I'm fucked from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, the last one here is Gage King.
Gage King, and I got this cat on my lap again.
I hope a big truck doesn't run Gage over.
That would be ironic.
Good old Pet Cemetery.
Do you like how this cat just kind of sat right back down on me?
Yeah.
She's ready for
She'd
you.
be sniffing.
She's ready for
you. You ready
sword.
for Gage? All right, here we go.
She's looking at you like...
I raise my head off the floor.
She's a little babe.
And I sniff at the air. The scent is back. It's always like this. I'm sleeping.
I also imagine it smells and tastes really bad in this world.
If everything's alcohol, oh my god, my fucking nose is just burning already.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping and the similar smells drift into my nostrils. In my daze, I confuse it with the original source, and my tail begins wagging. Oh, is this a dog? I'm so excited.
This is Dogscape?
Yeah, this strawberry shortcake. I'm so excited when I think she's returning to me that I forgot for a moment that she is gone, likely for good. It always takes me a little while to realize that her scent is similar but not exact. My friend has been gone for years. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was scared. She smells like her, but it isn't her. Maybe they use the same scent. Soap. Shampoo. I haven't seen her at a distance, but I've never gotten close enough to really get acquainted. Part of me is afraid that she'll be like the others. She's almost always in the same place after every day. She goes there each and every day. It's likely her territory. I don't even know if she looks like Donna or if she's just the way she smells. I don't want to get too close. I have to be wary of people these days. It's not like it was before. People can't be trusted. A long time ago, I could walk up to almost anyone and get scratched behind the ears and played with without having to worry about being hurt. Nowadays, if I did that, I would likely be killed or eaten. They do that now. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Did you
hear that?
Not you.
They're eating.
Never you.
They're eating you, bum.
They let the stomachs and insects guide them. No, they let their stomachs and instincts guide them. Yeah, I'm letting my insects guide me.
Hell yeah.
They will do anything to survive. I can smell it in them. I am familiar with the scent of my kind being digested in their stomachs. Most of them are too uncoordinated to attempt to hunt us, but that doesn't mean they won't try for an easy meal if it falls into their laps. I don't hold it against them. I've been known to feed on corpses when they go. I take opportunities just as they do. This world doesn't grant much gifts to anyone anymore. I watch her from a distance. She's leaning against a building. She has a crowbar next to her to chase people off that worry her. She rarely uses it, but keeps it around to warn people off. She waits there each day and talks to people as they pass by her. Sometimes the people passing by say nothing to her. Other times they talk for a bit before leaving. Every once in a while she takes someone into a nearby alley. They're usually only gone for 10 or 15 minutes. But when she isn't there, I get worried. I usually keep my distance for fear of her chasing me off too. But she typically doesn't react to my presence. I usually lay on the sidewalk and watch her as she waits. Is she waiting for someone too? It is different today. I've noticed that each day I'm a bit more close to her. She doesn't seem to mind me being there. I just want to get closer to that smell.
Oh no.
I need to get right up next to her to make sure it's not her. Each time I grow a little bold. A part of me hopes that it's actually her and that time has resulted in her scent changing. But I know it's not true. It can't be Donna. If it were, she would react to my presence. This doesn't change the fact that I'm still drawn to this girl with the familiar scent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to know for certain. A man stumbles up to her. It is obvious that he's had too much of the strange bitter food that makes everything act strange. I know why some people choose to eat it in excess. I can't understand how they can be happy in that state. It's disorienting and frightening. You could be attacked and wouldn't be able to defend yourself. Still, some people seek it out and eat it until their stomachs are heavy and they can barely walk. They talk for a few minutes before she speaks loud enough for me to hear her. "I trade for a little bit of excitement." The man nods. He likely doesn't trust his mouth enough to try speaking. They head down the alley, and this time my curiosity is too much. She usually disappears for a couple of moments before heading back out. She usually smells of sweat when she comes back. He reaches into his back pocket and clumsily tries to pull out something. It's a few peaches. The man hands two to her and shuffles away. He has what he wants, and she got what she wanted. She cleans herself up and exits the alley. She returns to her spot and begins eating the peach. She cringes as she bites into it for the first time. It looks juicy and reeks of the substance that makes everyone uncoordinated. The juice runs down her face and drips onto her dress, but she's too busy eating it to really care. The way she eats it, it seems like this is the first bit of food she's had all day. She finishes the first peach while looking at me lounging on the sidewalk appraisingly. She starts in on the other peach just as my stomach begins to rumble. It's a hollow and deep sound. I'm about to head off to scrounge up something to eat when she speaks. "This stuff tastes like shit. Not sure if eating it without anyone else in my stomach was a good idea. Might as well share the wealth. You're too skinny anyways." She throws a bit of fruit to me. I shy away from it until it hits the ground. I approach it and put it under my paw as I take a bite out of the flesh. It tastes bad, like everything else. The entire world smells off now. I remember back as a pup when the world was rife and new with interesting scents. Now, the ground, the water, the people, and everything else just smells like that substance that makes it difficult to move around. I eat a little bit, but don't overdo it. I don't want to get sick. I need to be aware of my surroundings in case of a predator or invader comes into my territory. I stick around for the rest of the day until she decides to leave, and I spend the night scavenging for scraps and leftovers. I join her again the next morning. She greets me, but doesn't approach me. We have established a comfort zone. She smiles at me, and my tail starts to wag on its own. It's a dark, overcasty day. It looks like it could rain any moment. We spend most of the day waiting for someone to come by. I keep her company. Now that I'm closer to her, I get a good look at her. Her hair is brown and scraggly. She is thin and wiry. She doesn't look like Donna. I'm not sure if that disappoints me or relieves me. Time passes quickly, and it begins to get dark. She's getting ready to head home when a man comes down the street. Something is wrong with this one. He smells different from the others. The other people smell like sweat and substance. This one has a different scent. I don't like it. He sees her and smiles, and a smile spreads across his face. He approaches her while picking up a rock. He lobs it at me, and I retreat out of range while he shouts, "Get out of here, you mutt!" The girl snaps, "She wasn't hurting anyone. You didn't need to throw a rock at her." "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was scared." He loses interest in me and focuses on her. They begin talking, but I stay close. I don't want to leave her alone. The man has a bad scent. He smells like sweat, semen, sick, and blood. He has one hand in his pocket while he reaches out.
Blood. An animal would be able to smell that and be like, that's not good.
That's somebody else's.
Yeah.
With the other and strokes the side of her. He has one hand in his pocket while he reaches out with the other and strokes the side of her face. She stiffens under his touch, but doesn't resist. She still wants something to eat for the day, but I can tell she is nervous. He says a few more things, and they go into the alley together. I follow them, not wanting him to be alone with her. I creep into the alley just in time to see that this wasn't like her previous encounter. I hear his whiskey-washed whisper. "What if I got nothing to trade for you, but still want what you got? Are you gonna give it to me, or do I have to take it from you?"
Jesus Christ.
She puts on a brave front, but she smells like perspiration and panic. She doesn't seem to want to fight and would rather run away. I already know that he isn't going to let her. She goes to leave the alley, but he withdraws a small knife from his pants and brandishes it at her. He is close enough to cut her, and that stops her dead in her tracks. He starts towards her with his knife at the ready, and that's when I intervene.
Yep.
My teeth sink into him before he knows I'm coming. I tear at his calf and taste the blood beginning to well up in the puncture wounds. He turns and strikes at my head, but I'm clamped on his leg, and I'm not letting go. He is shocked and hasn't begun to think with his head yet. He forgets that he has the knife in his right hand. I hope I can scare him off before he remembers. But he recovers quickly and stabs the blade in between my shoulders.
Aww.
I release him and twist away, taking his knife with me. I'm lost in the excitement and barely feel the injury. The man backs away from us, but makes no moves to flee. He realizes that he is bigger and likely stronger than the both of us. He thinks he can kill us and then take what he wants. What he does not realize is that two are more powerful than one, and in his current state, he really doesn't stand much of a chance now that he is weaponless. The girl pulls the knife free from between my shoulder blades. It hurts, but now she is armed and having the knife seems to bolster her confidence. I lead the charge and snap at him. He's prepared for me and does his best to keep me from slipping under his defenses and keeps me at arm's length. He's too focused on warding me off and does not see the woman coming. She lunges forward towards his left side with a scream, drives the blade into his stomach. He groans, half in surprise and half in agony as she presses the blade deeper and deeper. He backhands her just as he jerks the blade to the right, effectively opening him up. She falls back onto the ground as the force of the attack has been too much for her. His insides are now outside, and he is afraid. He tries to back away, but I see my opening and attack. He's busy trying to press his intestines back in,
Nope.
but I slam into him. I knock him off his feet. He weakly tries to push me off, but I am energized by the prospect of ending him with my full weight on him now. I sink my teeth into his neck and clamp down. I feel him wheezing and struggling against me, but I have him in my jaws. His fists pummel me, but his wounds leave him weak. I bite down hard and feel his throat collapse under the pressure. I twist my head and tear into the wound. Warm red fills my mouth, and I know that the fight is over.
Meat's back on the menu, boy.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in the horn.
Precious.
I ravage his neck for a few moments until I am completely certain that he is dead. He has finally stopped twitching. His throat is red, raw, and open to the world. We are safe. He is gone. I look up and try to lick my muzzle clean of his blood. But he tastes like sick and filth, and I want this scent off of me. I make contact with the girl. She looks at me with fear showing on her face. It's a familiar look. It's the same way that Donna looked at me that night. I can't stop it now. The memories rush back to the surface, and I am lost to them. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was scared. I was scared. That was the first time I really lost control of my body and experienced that now familiar sensation. I had trouble seeing, and everything seemed blurry. I thought I was dying. I staggered around before finally falling on my face. Donna was laughing. I don't know why. It sounded weird, like her tongue wouldn't cooperate with her. It came out as a slurred sound. I was scared and confused. As I lay on my stomach, I began to dry heave. A whitish gray mucus comes up. It tasted bad, but I didn't want to lose my meal. I tried to eat it, but suddenly a pair of hands grabbed me and jerked me away from the vomit.
Yeah, I don't know what does alcohol have effect on animals? I can't imagine it's good.
Nah.
Their bodies aren't meant to handle that.
I reacted without thinking. I snapped
poison,
out.
I would think. Wouldn't it poison them after a certain amount?
Yeah.
Their bodies are so much smaller
those
than ours.
livers
Alcohol poisoning
aren't
is,
made the same way. I snapped out and caught one of the hands in my teeth. My teeth found flesh, and I bit deep. I smelled blood, and I heard her scream. When I realized what I did, I let go. I didn't mean to bite Donna. She hit me hard. I yelped in pain. That was the first time she hit me, and it hurt. She reeled back and slapped me again. My vision exploded in a bright flash. I tried to rise to my feet, but I couldn't. She struck me again and began yelling angrily. I managed to get up, and I tried to get away, but she kept hitting me. I managed to make it to the door, but she was following me. She was still yelling when I got to the doggy door. I looked back one more time at Donna. She has grabbed the knife off the counter and was chasing after me. I make it out of the small gap in the door that allowed me to enter and leave without needing to open the door completely. I ran down the street with her sprinting after me and shouting. I kept running until I was sure that I was alone. I didn't know where I was. I kept running. I never stopped. I'm too caught up in the past to realize how much blood I lost in the struggle. It's dripping down my coat, and I'm panting heavily. My head feels light, and everything looks dark. I can barely stand up. The rush of excitement is dribbling away, and it's quickly replaced with pain and dizziness. A long, low whine comes out of me without my consent. Before I pass out, I see her approaching me, and the last thing I see is her retrieving the knife from the ground. The first words I hear are, "You're one tough bitch." I wake up in her lap in a place I am not familiar with. Everything here smells like her. The space in between my shoulder blades feels tight and painful, but I am no longer bleeding. I am wrapped in something that prevents me from moving too much. I work to try and feed myself, but she speaks softly and reassuringly in my ear. I realize that I am too weak to fight back or escape, so I just lay there. She strokes my head in slow, repetitive movements while softly crying. I can't understand why. The man is dead and gone. There's no reason to cry. She reaches down to my old collar and looks at my tag. She continues talking. "Gage King, huh? Not sure I like the ring of it. Doesn't really work for a lady, does it? Looks like both of us are on our own here. Let's try to come up with a better name for you." She spends the rest of the night talking softly with my head in her lap. I sleep close to her that night. I'm too tired to move, and she seems comfortable in that position. My head is resting on her lap, and she leans up against the wall. She is impaired. Her breath smells like the substance that makes everyone act the way they do. A small part of her has the same scent of the man. She smells like that bitter liquid some of the more unpredictable people drink. Even though she's intoxicated, I don't feel worried. I feel safe with her. I fall asleep with her scent all around me. I drift in and out for a few days. Sometimes she is there, sometimes she isn't. There's always water in a bowl and a little bit of kibble that smells stale and is as hard as rocks, but it's better than nothing. I eat what I can. When she's around, she scratches me behind the ears and talks to me about her day. I eventually grow strong enough to move around her apartment. Everything smells like her, and it comforts me. The girl constantly talks about how dangerous the streets are now. Apparently there are more men like the one I killed in the alley in the city since I've been gone. A week later, she makes her proposal. She is sitting in her chair, and my head is in her lap. She is eating a bruised apple and is silent for a few moments before stating, "I don't like it here much anymore. There aren't enough trustworthy people to make a living. I think you are one of the few I can actually trust. I think we should blow this popsicle stand before any more dangerous people try to take advantage of us. So what do you say, gal? Want to come with me?" I wag my tail and look up into her eyes. That's enough for her to understand that I'm going with her. She wraps her arms around me, and I take this opportunity to sniff her hair. She no longer smells like Donna. She smells like something new altogether. I enjoy the smell. We leave her apartment together and begin walking towards the horizon. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I am actually home. Well, it's a good ending for dogs. Hooray.
That's the end?
That's the end.
It's a good end for dogs. Yeah.
At least dogs can enjoy this world.
Dude, I was waiting for the gut punch. I was like, she's gonna eat this fucking dog.
Yeah, I thought that too when she was like wrapped up in something and couldn't move. I'm like, oh, you're gonna start cooking this dog?
I'm gonna fucking kill. You're gonna kill this dog. You're gonna eat this dog. I actually, because most of the animals are gonna have to feed and probably starve and probably die, wouldn't you actually try to kill them before they get to the point where you can't eat them anymore?
Yeah,
because of how poisoned and gross and emaciated they become.
Yeah.
If they eat bad shit for too long. But honestly, I don't know.
Maybe if you're eating
here's where
bad
I'm
shit
at.
for so long, eating good shit would actually make you more sick.
Yeah, that's another...
It might change your biology after so many years.
Thing. Yeah, if it's been a long time. Yeah, it's different because this is the only perspective. It's like dogs can't write, so we have to take this from the perspective of this is not a part of the journal. This is an actual slice of life from the perspective of the dog. So it's like this is taking place fresh because she's saying she remembers when the world didn't taste bad.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the beginning of the apocalypse, but I can't imagine the world is going to be much more welcoming to that. I think if people are desperate enough to be forced to eat this bad stuff, then the world can't be in a much better place. Animals aren't going to last much longer. I'd be tempted to say a couple different things about why I'd call bullshit on this story. Before I get into it, cue up the United States of America Peaches for the ending credits. Gonna move into the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Move into the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches.
Peaches come from a can, they were put there by man.
That's the credits for the movie, right? So here we are. Broad stroke. There's a couple problems with this narrative, and it's because it's not as desperate as Dogscape, and it's trying to be. So I get it. I liked it. First off, right at the top, I liked it. Broad strokes, I see some issues. One of the most vast and unclaimed resources on our planet is the ocean.
More space than our own oceans.
I'd like to think the entire world just goes Mediterranean. We just start harvesting everything from the ocean. Fish don't taste bad. They don't require anything on the surface to live from. But your bacteria can't reach down there, so we could start consuming other stuff that's down there, whether it's kale, kelp, whatever, seaweed, what have you. We'd find a way to make it work. Water doesn't go bad. Fish doesn't go bad. That's a huge resource. Plants go bad. It ends animals after a certain amount of time. But, like, birds eat seeds. Seeds are going to be fine. Like, oxygen might be bad if all the plants are dying. The world might actually turn into a big old dust bowl if a bacteria wipes it all out. But that's what I mean by logical eccentricities about this story.
Some fishes eat bugs, though. So, like,
sure, but that's another resource.
Fish eat those fish.
Like, if bugs can survive eating these alcohol-laden plants, then animals can survive eating alcohol-laden bugs, and that's where I'm at. Where like the chain doesn't collapse that fast, the world doesn't collapse that fast. Dogscape is a mutation. Dogscape is a forced entry into a system where I think, what did they say? When Blair is at the computer, how long would it take to infect the entire world? It's like days.
Yeah.
It's like weeks.
Yeah, that's the big... Like,
within 27 days, they'd be able to infect more than half the planet or all of it. So it's like...
break all the equipment.
So yeah, it's like... This is like Contagion. This is like a bad turn that would maybe take 3 or 4 years to solve, but there's an end to this tunnel, I imagine. Because, A, humanity is still trying. They might be half drunk, but they're still trying. Pilots can fly planes blitzed out of their minds. Surgeons can do surgery blitzed out of their minds. Let's not go into the Walking Dead, City of the Dead, like George Romero satire too fast. Yeah. This is not that.
People drive
systems still exist. People exist. High functioning alcoholics exist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think this apocalypse is self-imposed. This apocalypse is from a system collapsing, not the world. Food systems that don't have people at the head of them saying, this is how we solve this, is why this happens, this is why this collapse happens. Collapse is coming from within. on this, whereas Dogscape is the collapse fucking surrounds you.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, as much as I like the story, as well as it was written, as all of these perspectives is interesting to get through,
the progression wasn't
the
there.
story is harder to believe.
Yeah.
Because I'm a problem solver. I'm sitting here and I'm saying, what do we do in this situation? And that's hunting and gathering, going back to what we did as cavemen. How do we exist in a system? We harvest deer, we harvest chicken, we harvest rabbits, we do the Walking Dead thing. While we still have our brains. Mm-hmm. While we still kind of get drunk. It's just, you eat bad food one day, good food the next. We find a way to make it last. We find a system. After we run out of those finite resources, we turn to things we did not expect for however long humanity has to. Everyone moves to the oceans, the lakes, whatever. We start making a fucking industry about harvesting minerals, resources from the ocean, finding a way to filtrate water so that we can choose to drink water to balance out the alcohol, what have you. We find a way to dilute it. Alcohol can be diluted. Mm-hmm. We find a way to make it work. There is hope in this universe. There is strength in this universe. There's no fucking hope in Dogscape.
There's always a way to make new bananas. Because bananas are dead. We could make a new banana.
You can make a lot of bananas.
That doesn't have alcohol.
The amount of fruit that exists on our grocery aisle that are scientifically adjusted is like 80 to 90% of them.
Yeah, the food you're eating isn't food anymore.
Like, there is a way we get past this. And not for nothing, alcohol-laced fruit sounds fun. People would like that.
Oh, 100%. People probably already do shit like that.
People already do shit like that. So that's where I'm like, all right, the systemic collapse is not as...
Not there, like...
It's not as hard as you're trying to make it sound. I appreciate the context of the story. I wish it was harder in the paint about the specifics. I wish it said... It's 50 years after the collapse and this is why. The fact that it doesn't define the time of any of these narratives makes me believe it could be anywhere 3 months to 3 years. And within both of those figures, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Society we have lives, we have motives, we would not regress this fast. It would not become Lord of the Flies in 3 fucking months. Unless someone dropped nukes or something.
Yeah.
The president got schlitzed and fucking pressed the button on Russia and they pressed it in retaliation on us. Like, that's the only way that collapse happens, is if the world actually ends. If the systems are still in place but everyone's just buzzed at the wheel, there's no collapse, everyone's just buzzed at the wheel. That becomes the new status quo.
And honestly, with the way the world is going, I want to be
I would rather be buzzed at the
every
wheel.
Day. Oh.
Yeah. You know, I was high for most of this story, and I was fine. If I were drunk, you think I wouldn't be recording a podcast? Joke's on you. I did that for a long time.
I was just sober, and I was sad.
We were all
but
drunk.
The dog lived, so everything's fine.
Yeah, the dog lived, so honestly, end note, A+. End note, A+. I don't care about dead alcohol baby, fetal baby syndrome. I don't care. Dead. Gone. Done.
How fitting. This
woman,
was for Hal, this was for Daisy.
Yeah.
Little Lucy.
Patreon episode, Patreon shout out. As a reminder, as I'm sure Hal would want me to remind everyone, Patreon is only $1 to join. $1. Lowest tier is only $1 and tax a month. What's that? Like $130 a month? And you haven't joined yet?
$1 for a holla.
So that's where I have to say, okay, how can I entice you? I don't know. I don't know how I can entice you to give me your money. Here's an idea. I've been releasing stuff on Patreon sooner than I've been releasing it everywhere else. That's at least one reason to sign up there. If you're giving me your money, I'm going to give you access to my shit as soon as I fucking can. Another idea that I'm playing around with. I've recorded like live streams on Twitch. I've kept them. I'm now going to start releasing them specifically on Patreon for Patreon subscribers, so you could get more of what you already enjoy about us. Is more shit that I recorded at some point, but I did not turn into an episode. It was stuff that I did on either playing video games or what I started calling spoopy splashes between me and Glitch Blob, where we would watch horror shorts from all around YouTube and the internet and then discuss what makes them work, what makes them not work, whether they're good, whether they're bad. And let me tell you, there are some fucking bangers out there, and there's some absolute dog shit. And we get into both sides of it. We watch a lot of Kane Pixels stuff.
Nice.
We watch a lot of Adult Swim stuff. We watch all the good stuff on YouTube. We watch all the bad stuff on YouTube. We watch the stuff that inspired movies, where a lot of these YouTube directors came from. What makes them good, what makes them worth watching. We watched some of the first stuff Radio Silence did, some of the first stuff Rocka Rocka Bros did. We're the guy who did Skinnamarink, we watched his first stuff. The guy Ari Aster, the guy who did Hereditary, he did a YouTube short. Like, we get into it. So if you sign up for our Patreon, minimum $1 for the lowest tier. I think it's in increments of 2, so it's like $1, $3, $5, $7, $9. I think that's all of them. Whatever you want to give us, I'm going to start putting exclusive stuff on there starting this year, so that there is an incentive to go there, because it's not enough to just say your name is in the credits. That used to be like the bare minimum, is that if you sign up for the Patreon, you will be remembered as someone who made this product possible. A lot of people make this product possible.
A producer.
Yeah, right, exactly. A lot of people make this product possible. We wouldn't have this product without a lot of people. Of course, I'm going to put your names in the credit if you are a Patreon subscriber, but let's just give a shout out to all of them, as I believe I have them named on my computer that I have to lean forward for, and I have a cat on my lap. Yeah, so my $1 a month is my Spooky Spaghetti tier. My $3 a month is my Frightful Fettuccine tier. My $5 a month is my Terrifying Tortellini tier. My $7 a month is Ravenous Rigatoni. Oh, and it's not 9, it's 10. Make it so go around even more. Murder Manicotti. So we have 2 Terrifying Tortellinis to thank. That's Kitty, aka Taurus Filth, and Hal. Then we have 1 Ravenous Rigatoni person to thank, which is Bones and Joneson. And then we have 4 Murder Manicotti members to thank, which is Evan Gravino. Love you, bud. Hope you enjoyed the alcohol-laden episode. Trevor the Werefishy. Barbara Manatee, aka Bunny Sweetlove. And Isaiah. This episode is dedicated to you guys as our Patreon subscribers. Like I said, if anyone else is interested in joining us, you can find us over at patreon.com/Lotsa_pasta. And you could join Legion. We are Legion. We shall consume the planet.
Dogs. The cool thing about joining our Patreon is any subscriber of any tier is automatically added to our credits. Another cool thing about joining our Patreon is I've chatted with people on there. So you could find a way to be a part of the conversation. You could submit stories to us, like the story that brought to you this episode. Trevor the Werefishy and Hal have submitted stories to us. Isaiah has talked about stories with us, I'm pretty sure. Kitty brought us stories, obviously. Barbara was a part of an episode. All I'm saying is you join this system and I find a way to bring you into it. So I think being into the Patreon and actually talking to me is a way to do that. If you want Deputy Dewey feet pics, ask. I'll make it happen.
I'll get frowns.
You don't even have to be on the Patreon.
I'll get frowns back on the line. We'll get his OnlyFans, his fans only back up. other things that happen with if you immediately subscribe and you go to like top tier, I'm going to contact you. We're going to have a conversation, and if you're cool, I will find a way to put you on an episode. That is a promise. You are a producer of the show, as Deputy Dewey said. You pay that much money, we're gonna get you on a fucking episode. We're gonna talk to you about it. So, if you enjoy our show, if you're a part of it, we've had so many fans who've joined us over the years. Find us on Patreon. Find a way to support us. And if signing up for a commitment, a monthly fee, doesn't sound like something you'd be into, they do allow you to do one-time payments. People have done one-time payments. It's fine. I'm happy to take whatever I can get. Like I say to Hal when he signed up, dude, you just bought me a sandwich. That's great. Love that. You buy me a sandwich, fantastic. Happy to have it. But that's also what the website Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, is about. It's for one-time payments. You don't need to do subscriptions. You could find Lotsa Pasta on Ko-fi. It's a one-time payment thing. There's a goal on there. There's a money value you could put in there. Here I am on the side of the road with my cup out, yelling, support me! Mm-hmm. So anyway, how'd you feel about this episode?
I liked it. Devastating, a lot of it.
It's very sad.
It hasn't made me feel better about the world, but
no.
But they were cool. I like the different aspects of it. I thought they were fun. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, damn it! I was gonna say something fun. Oh well, it's gone forever. Never come back. Oh, I was gonna say,
you got it.
Do the Patreon stuff because like you can be on the episodes and they're fun to talk to the Captain Death. I have a fun time. It's the whole reason I'm here.
Hell yeah. And also like it's not just for our support. It's for the longevity of the show. I think it's a part of being in something that will last for as long as the internet lasts. We're making our mark. Be a part of it. Put your name on it. Sign up for it. You know?
Time capsule ship.
Part of the ship, part of the crew. Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're talking about my dogs dying. I can't wait until the first person on the show dies. Oh. I hope it's me. I've told everyone to release the pasta files in the event of my death. Just be like, hey, don't worry, you're not going to actually miss him. He has over 300 hours on the internet. You can find him anytime you want.
I can't wait to blatantly lie about it and be like, I was never on that podcast. There's no truth. You have nothing. List. We can move forward.
I wasn't a part of this. I didn't do this.
There's hundreds of episodes of me just like making out with Captain Death. Oh, what?
Kissy noises everywhere. But like, honestly, I do have a Deadpool going. Who do you think is first?
Oh, definitely. Where am I?
Oh, he would like that.
Who lasts the longest?
He would agree for that.
On your death pool, who has like the worst odds? Do you think?
The worst odds? That's even better. I want to say.
Bunch of baby.
I want to say bunch of baby ducks.
He's pretty in shape.
He's just built. He's built.
He's built different.
He's built, and life has been rough to him. Life has been hard, so he deserves.
He's gonna survive out of spite.
He deserves the longest and happiest life out of all of us. My cards are also on Harold Heavy Hands. He spites his existence so much that I can't help but think that the cancer will just become him, and he will exist as an ethereal vapor. You know,
his hands will just be too heavy with that cancer.
I don't know, man. It's I can only somehow imagine the worst of us surviving the longest. I'm gonna take that back because Bunch of Baby Ducks is a good person.
I'm gonna kill myself right now.
That's what I just said. Come on.
Oh man, this is the special.
Definitely not Punxsutawney
Patreon suicide pact.
No, I'm just saying, like, we're being real. Like, you gotta have thoughts on it. What's the Lotsa Pasta Deadpool? Who's the first to go? Let us know. Leave a comment. Find us on Facebook and start shouting it from the rooftops. Yeah, I'll do a Spotify poll. I'll put all of our names on this episode. Tell us who do you think is the likeliest to die soon.
Very fun. Very
cool. Very relevant.